back again. What can...
I found these materials amid old kingdom ruins. I believe they might be used to make a fine weapon.
Let me see him. Oh, this is nice work. Very nice. And it does seem like you have everything you need, but I'm just not the man for this sort of thing. Maybe an elf or dwarf smith would serve you better.
Welcome. I think more folks are starting to believe the dangers I warned of are real. But it's no wonder, really. What with the Black Riders appearing on our streets and attempted murder right here in the inn.
Black Riders entered Bree?
Yes, but Barliman can probably tell you more than I. You've been very helpful. I think we have a good store of arms now. I know you haven't helped us for the money, so I want to show you my appreciation. I found this amulet many years ago on the Barrow Downs. I've always suspected it has some special virtue. Maybe it will be of use to you.
Good luck to you.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Prancing Pony. What can I do for you?
Is Strider no longer in town?
He left town with a party of Shire hobbits that came in just after you left. Seemed like an odd pairing, if you don't mind my saying so. They were strange folk, these hobbits.
Strange? In what way?
Well, for one, they seemed to be in some sort of trouble. Even before they showed up, we had this black-cloaked rider come round asking after hobbits from the Shire. He put a chill into my veins, that one.
A Black Rider? What became of him?
I can't say for certain, but more of them turned up after the first. They came into the town the same night as the hobbits. It was fortunate your friend Strider kept them hidden that night. Not long after, 5 of them broke down the gates and rode through the town, howling like a storm. Last anyone saw, they were traveling east.
Thank you, and goodbye.
to Dunadan now!
We strike as one.
Now!
Death take you all!
We strike as one.
I have received word through the Sons of Elrond and the Wandering Companies telling of your valor at Fornost. You are to be commended for your skill and daring.
I think we managed to slow down Agendaur's plans at the very least. But how have things been here since we left to find Aragorn?
All has been quiet. There was an alarm sounded at Buckland shortly after we parted company, but it seems to have amounted to nothing.
I'm ready for whatever new orders you may have for me. Andriel and Farin have also volunteered their aid. How can we best be of service?
Truthfully, I would be happy for the extra hands. But it is clear to me that you three have a greater destiny. You may be needed more urgently elsewhere.
So what would you suggest we do?
I advise you to make your way to Rivendell. Aragorn will be eager to hear news of Agendaur, and he may have other tasks for you to perform.
Elrond's son suggested much the same thing. Very well.
Perhaps there is something you can do for me on your way.
Gladly. You have but to name it.
I sent two of my rangers, Kalarin and Luin, on patrol along the Brandywine River. They should have returned long before now. I am growing concerned for them.
They are both seasoned rangers who have served many years in this region. We can be certain they have not simply lost their way.
From which direction would they be returning?
They were to follow the Brandywine north as far as the Great East Road, and from there to make their way back by passing through the Barrow Downs.
The Downs are just north of our position here.
Then we'll make our way north by way of the Barrow Downs.
Perhaps we will discover some trace of them as we travel.
You have my thanks. I know your skill as a tracker, Eridan. If Luin and Kalarin made it as far as the Downs, you should be able to pick up their trail. Farewell, and safe travels to you all.
You're soon to be off again, are you? Well, I have a few things among our supplies that may help you on your way. Perhaps a few extra arrows for your quiver, and a few of Solana's healing drafts may come in very handy as well.
First, give me your thoughts about what happened here. The attack of the Black Riders.
Ah, well, I've seen many things in my day. Evil in many forms. But I've never seen anything like we faced that day. So many lost. It's hard for an old man to see so many younger men slain. I wish I could... Well, there's nothing to be gained from wishing.
But there is something to be gained from action. We must have our revenge.
Revenge? That's all well and good. But those men will still be dead, won't they? Better that we do whatever we can to save others from their fate.
Yes, you're right, of course. But it still burns to see good men fallen and their killers unpunished.
Those men died trying to protect those who can't protect them.
Eridan, my friend. It's good to see you alive and well. I'll admit I wasn't certain we'd meet again, but then everything seemed grim after the Black Riders broke through our guard. It was days before I could shake off the feelings of despair.
I found these materials amid old kingdom ruins. I believe they might be used to make a fine weapon.
These are relics of our ancestors, made in a time before the lore of Numenor dimmed. If I had the use of a good smithy, maybe I could make something of worth from these, but not here in the field. If you're bound for Rivendell, you'll find skilled smiths among Elrond's folk. Try taking these to one of them.
I'm glad to find you all still safe. How have things been here?
Well enough. Quiet. We've seen no sign of the enemy since the attack. It's as if they have lost interest in us. Or perhaps we're beneath their notice now. But from the look of your gear, you've seen a thing or two since last we met. Are you in need of repairs?
Farewell, Hador.
Are you hurt? You look well enough to me. If it's healing drafts you need, you can get them from Maradan. I have a dying man on my hands.
Young Elrond is dying? But why? What's wrong with him?
Wrong? I don't really know. His wound is minor, yet his life is slipping away. I fear he is suffering from the Black Breath.
The Black Breath? What is that?
It is some power wielded by the Black Riders, the Nine Nazgûl. Their victims are stricken senseless, and without aid, they soon die. I've already lost 3 men to this curse. Elrond is the only victim who yet lives.
But there is still hope. What can we do?
I hardly know. Drawing an arrow, stitching a wound. These things I have done countless times. The Black Breath is something I know only from the old rhymes my teacher taught me.
Tell me this rhyme. Maybe there's some clue there.
It was years ago. Let me think. I believe it ran something like this. When the Black Breath blows, and death's shadow grows, and all lights pass, come Athelas, life to the dying. That's all I can recall.
What is this Athelas the rhyme speaks of?
An herb, commonly known as kingsfoil. It has little medicinal use, though some find it comforting for headaches and other small complaints.
Then there is no harm in trying it with Elrond. Do you have any of this Athelas?
No, I have none. You'll have to forgive me for neglecting to lay up a supply, but you see, no one bothered to tell me that the 9 ring wraiths would rise up from ancient legends to trouble us here. If I had Athelas, don't you think I would have used it by now?
It must grow wild somewhere. I am willing to search for it.
Perhaps you could find some at that. The plant is not native to Middle-earth. It was brought to these shores from lost Numenor, and planted in the lands where our ancestors used to dwell, including the Borrowdowns to the north.
My road leads to the Barrow Downs. Should I find Athelas growing there, I will return with a supply.
I'm told the Barrow Downs are filled with ancient tombs. What do you know of them, Elf?
These tombs were made by the fathers of men in the depths of time. They were sacred to the men of Arnor, and they too buried their dead here, until their kingdom fell to the Witch King.
These hills have an evil reputation in the folklore of the Shire and Bree. Rangers travel here often without incident. Still, I feel a sense of unease. We must stay alert. Rangers camped here perhaps 2 or 3 days past. These footprints could easily be those of Luin and Kalarin.
Can you tell where they may have gone from here?
The tracks lead deeper into the downs.
Then we should follow them. Lead the way, Aradan.
natural fog. The air has grown so cold. There is an evil will behind this mist. Beware! The dead awake!
Servants of the enemy, beware! Let us stand and fight together!
cache here.
strike as one. Servants of the enemy, beware! It's pretty obvious now what befell the missing Rangers.
As long as there is a chance they still live, I won't give up the search.
The undead are upon us! Let us stand and fight together! You face a ranger now!
Take you all!
We strike as one! Let us stand and fight together! Servants of the enemy, beware!
Here, my friends! Gather to the stealing light!
Won't last much longer!
Swiftly, before death claims him!
You should be less reckless with your life.
Sorry to put you to all that fuss, my friend. Nearly done for.
Rescue our companion! Quickly!
Come now, dwarf. There are still foes.
That's closer to death than here.
like there's writing on these stones, but it's very worn. Can your elven eyes make it out, Lore Master?
Faintly, it appears to be a list of names, many of them scratched in haste. They are identified as soldiers of Cardinal.
The men of Cardalon were among the last of my ancestors to hold out against the evil of the Witch King. The histories tell us that they used the Barrow Downs as their last refuge in a hopeless fight.
Then this must be where they laid their fallen comrades to rest. It would be fitting if we were to drive the Whites from this tomb.